same bans we've been seeing repeatedly throughout the LPL as Varus also joins that table.
Yeah, and one thing that I've noticed in terms of Fearless Draft is a lot of the times, like, AD is one of the smaller pools in Fearless. And so I feel like AD bans actually really define what you want to play. Ashe versus Varus is one of the handshakes that we've seen a lot of teams take and sign up for. Both of them being taken off the table by LGD. It's going to make for very different Game 1 bot lanes. And with the first pick, Rumble, I mean, that is a pick that you love to pair with some utility bot lane. But, of course, those picks now off the table. Those are also two laners that can really abuse Corki bot. So I think the Corki bot flex this game, a lot more valid for Team WEs that's being picked up early.
Yeah, I think right now the standoff damage is going to be the case for WE. I mean, I could even see like Ezreal, stuff like that coming through early for them. The Sejuani continuing to go with a melee-oriented combo with the top trio for LGD, and they lock in the Yone. So they're just picking in their lanes right now. 1, 2, 3, right down the row.
Yeah, I think Galio's a decent pick here, but later on, you can get pushed around by Yone. Just Galio's going to go MR, and being a tank, Yone likely going Bork in the build will be able to mount you in the side lanes. So at the moment, I actually do like what LGD can do, because I feel like Yone has two really good side lane matchups. So finding more ways to set up and maybe punish that, I think Jhin goes up in value a little bit for LGD here.
True.
Won't be a blind, but just having, again, that utility. You have a ton of damage on the top side, so I think the setup here for LGD could be decent.
I'm just wondering how much priority we're going to give this Corki in terms of the... Because you have to get Corki to a place of promise if you really want it to be impactful. And now you're looking at focusing that AD role to give that lane a little bit of safety there as well and take some of those 2v2 setups away from Shaoye. But that's exactly what we talked about, is what LGD want. They want to try to put pressure down there. So do you feel like it's going to be enough to try to play safe for Taeyoon?
I'm not sure. At the moment, the Draven bans, so I'm expecting that we see a marksman on 4, unless they want to just blind a support, which is possible, and then you can preserve the Corki flex if you want. Again, I actually think getting Corki out of mid is a pretty good call at the moment. I think that Corki can really play into this comp. They just need to see a little bit more bots, so blinding a support here, not bad. Alistar and Braum taken off the table. Something like Rakan, pretty blindable. And yeah, you can see the Akali ban. I like that ban a lot. That's, I think, it's a really good matchup in the Yone. It would have been good in this game. They don't have a lot of good CC for Akali. And yeah, they will keep with the Corki flex. Leona, really good pairing for Corki. Of course, that passive on Leona, it's really easy to proc that with Corki, all the abilities he has. And then the tick damage on the Gatling gun for the E. This is a lane that we've seen forever in League of Legends, so potentially see it again here.
Since the beginning of time.
Yeah, no, truly, since I've been watching League, and it is that old version of Corki, it's back. So that said, Rel to help with the Wombo, that's good setup. The shield break, pretty valuable against Galio too. If you get that in early, you can break that W shield. And now, I mean, maybe a Kaisa over the top. It's not, you get bullied by Corki, so
yeah, Ezreal.
Yeah, will be an Ezreal. A bit of a takeaway too is
I'm a little worried.
Okay.
I'm a little worried. I mean, that's a lot of melee and short range for LGD. Yes, you have the Ezreal, but it's also, I mean, I guess it's decent teamfight setup, but you really have to set up Shaoye to have some consistent damage for you. Him and XQW are going to be massive implications for LGD.
I don't think that Shaoye has a lot of good targets. What I don't mind about this is I think one of Taeyoon's better champions is actually Ezreal, so it's a bit of a deny. And with LGD, you have all this dive, so Ezreal can just at least handle himself in the backline.
Hopefully.
But yeah, hopefully.
It was the Aurora locked in last, so we did get that Galio top lane for Cube.
Yeah, Galio top was expected here into the Rumble. Again, I don't like it as much later on, just because Yone can really abuse it in the side lane, and with that Aurora pick, it will be a little bit more early pressure down on the Yone. Ability to maybe open up Tianzhen on this Xin Zhao to make some moves early in the game, as mid-prio will be heavily with Team WE in the early game. But I think playing 3 lanes for Team or LGD as this moves forward might be really tough for Team WE to deal with. So a lot for me rides on this Yone for LGD. If they can get him out of the early game, get him into the side lane, should be able to win any and all matchups thrown his way. And being able with that Sejuani, a threat of plays mid, always tough. And we'll see if Karis can deal with that.
I think Yone has not changed much from even the world's meta. He is still always past the 2-3 item mark, has the potential to win you games. And especially in a fearless system like this, you have to be able to capitalize on getting those picks. LGD, they did win that side select. They went ahead and got that blue side. They've drafted up this kind of huge fighting top trio here, but they really need to play to those successes, and I'm particularly looking at Climber and XQW to have some of those good connections. Meanwhile, WE on the other side, we've seen some struggles, but we need Tianzhen to feel like himself. We need Cube to have some sort of impact, and both these teams looking to have some kind of impact on their Group A, as they both need desperately to find a series win.
Not bad in the Gyos so far. I'm hoping it's a little bit louder for game 2. Personally.
Yeah, waking up a little bit, you know?
Yeah. Do you want to say a couple interesting Keystone choices that I just want to highlight real quick? We got
just
Rumble.
perusing.
Well, Rumble with first strike, it's really common to go Conquer against the Galio. But curious if we maybe even see the new item, the Bloodletter, being picked up by him second. And then also Ezreal Shaoye on the Conquer, which is going to at least signal a little bit more for the team fight and scaling up damage rather than the PTA Ezreal that we sometimes see to help out a little bit in lane. So lane should very much be in favor of Team WE bot. And yeah, I think Team WE, I mean, their laning phase should be really solid across the board. You got Galio after the first few levels, really strong. And this Corki Leona should be winning in the bot side after a couple levels too.
I'm wondering if that's saying that it's
disabled?
not enabled. Yeah, I don't know though.
It might
be. Unfortunately, couldn't read it fast enough and screen cap it for Google Translate. But it would be interesting. I mean, if one professional region is doing it, I feel
goodbye,
like
Tank Jace.
I feel like it would not be competitive integrity to not have other professional regions do it. But
I know that the LEC players voted on it, so it could be like league based, but we'll see. As so far, bot lane. Ezreal level 1, always really good with the Q range, the passive attack speed. We will see that push early on. A couple levels needed for Taeyoon and Vampire. Worth noting, Taeyoon did miss out on some experience, so is down a level compared to his support. Could be impactful later on. And each of our junglers clearing towards the top side.
Maybe see if they can give some love to this top lane matchup, or mid lane at least. Maybe a little bit of wrap around, or maybe neither. Maybe they do nothing. Vampire has hit that level 2 mark, so W feeling a little bit more confident to step up. Are clearing out some of that warding down there, but there won't be any help come from the jungle anytime soon. And speaking of some of that potential lane setup, do you expect there to be any focus from Climber towards XQW anytime early? I mean, I feel like Yone really doesn't become a serious threat even until that first item, Blade of the Ruined King, things along those lines.
It depends. I think that with help, just setting the Aurora behind so that she can't play as far up is actually really good for the Yone. Just taking a flash, I think, would be big. But at the moment, you can see he's going to default to the bot crab, as that is where he has priority. And the first window for mid plays will be open. Wards towards the top side for Team WE. So if Climber were to sneak in, this bot side would not be spotted. And Yone's wave is pushing up. We'll see if Xin wants to make any moves for Tianzhen, but
you know what,
it's going to be a bit of a handshake early.
This is probably one of the first games I've casted that isn't a lane swap early or has any lane shenanigans early. Both these teams, they're bringing back the old school League of Legends, and we appreciate that with old school orgs. They will be getting a back off on award there, so a little bit of information given over to Team WE. And with a reset from Tianzhen a little bit ahead of the pace, going down towards bot side, we have seen teams very willing to switch up the map for those first grub spawns, but we'll have both junglers towards this bot side to start it off.
Yeah, I like the highlight on the grub spawn and the potential lane swaps we see, because the bot lane priority has been with LGD so far. And we did send YCX back. So he's going to work his way towards mid lane, but the timer that he based on it's a little bit early for a potential swap towards the top side. Something that I think is just okay for LGD, because if, you know, we're going to put Rumble and Galio against more numbers on the other side, you'd rather be Galio in that scenario. His kit makes him really tough to dive, and he's just going to be more valuable on lower econ compared to Rumble. So I don't know if we're going to see the swap or not, but yeah.
We are going to get 2 full clears, which, you know, feels
good leading up to Grubs. And so far, the swap...
good, Cubby?
Yeah, I mean, it does for the junglers. Yeah, it does for the junglers. The swap will be initiated by Team WE. So, again, that first base by YCX, they lost tempo on the bot side. Team WE got the wave in, and they're going to be the ones to initiate the swap. But LG, they've been sniffing this out. They're actually going to put Ezreal and Rel mid, which I like. They would have been late to that top side. So Yone will be forced to catch this, but after this, they should have mid priority and will be able to enter a grub fight or skirmish through the mid lane or through the bot side of this top side river.
Yeah, they're getting that push going through. LGD looking to try to get that priority from mid lane. Do have TP available for Cube and Sasi, and trying to see if they can get here for
Cube?
a potential 5-on-5.
Yeah, Cube also has push, so he got this wave in, and Galio's really strong at these fights. I mean, level 6 Galio, that ult in his kit, if he's able to get a big grand entrance and find a big taunt, I mean, that can really spell doom for the fight. And it looks like LGD is respecting this. Again, LGD, for me, it's about scaling. They need to scale up in this game in order to get going, as 2 grubs will be secured
both ways
by Team WE. And again, they have to return and manicure their lanes, so they don't want to lose too much gold and XP. We'll just take the 2 grub victory, and I think an okay handshake played out by both of our teams so far. I do give a little bit of preference over to LGD just because I favor their comp as this game goes on. I like the damage, I like their ability to play 3 lanes, so I think, you know, avoiding the fight and only going down 1 grub is fine for them. The upcoming grub fight where they have more levels, more items should be better for their team.
Typically, I do like to see Xin Zhao skirmish a little more, and so I would love to see maybe a little bit more proactivity to fight that
That's a
fire
good highlight too, yeah.
for WE. Because, I mean, kind of sitting back and waiting for these big team fights and things like that, I feel like isn't going to help WE in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I like the highlight. You want to use the powers in early, and if like once Sejuani gets an item, especially with the item that Climber's going for, potential Heartsteel off the bat, Xin just cannot move you if you end up going this. And yeah, he's got a couple tanks to farm this off of, specifically the Galio, Leona as well. So wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being the Heartsteel. If you just see him go attack Cube just for the sake of getting a stack or 2. Will be interesting to look out for.
That's the dopamine gameplay that we need, man. I like the fact that the pro players do it too. That just justifies all my Heartsteel builds in ARAM and everywhere else.
I mean, please, Riot.
They're human too.
I want Grubs nerfed a little bit, and Green Tree needs to be nerfed a little bit too. This overgrowth point, and too many people are abusing it. We got grass being built on everyone, and Heartsteels being built on junglers. A lot of it's because of overgrowth.
That's why Cubby decided to join the LPL English unofficial setup, is to have a place to mauled about the decisions in the new season.
I did that regardless, Lion, but I appreciate it.
It's a constant struggle, all right? It's a constant struggle.
You know, you watch a lot of League, and you figure out things that are OP or not. They know as well. But, yeah, I think the use of Grubs in solo queue versus the competitive environment. Grubs are very balanced solo queue. Competitive, not so much. It's a little bit too strong when you get the advantage, you get to walk around the map. So, the constant battle for League of Legends, you know.
Speaking of constant battle with League of Legends, unfortunately, we don't have timers in this game. So we'll see how time goes on.
I've got it in my head, Lennon.
But we'll have to keep an eye on
things. Gonna gut check this. Dragon hasn't been taken yet. That's easy.
No way. You're so good, Cubby. You're so good.
Grub should be spawning here in like 90 seconds, just about, likely based on the take. So notice how I'm a little bit questioning that. So
yeah. You're not confident.
The lack of timers did affect my confidence.
We're gonna move forward. Tianzhen has gone ahead and started up the Dragon here with full team backing from Vampire and Taeyoon. He also has Karis moving over. I do wonder if LGD want to contest this to some extent, because it's not like they can burn this dragon very fast, and you have Climber coming out of base. A big true shot barrage is going to signal that this is going to be contested. TP coming in from the other side. You have Sasi coming to join. He does have Equalizer, and there's a lot of choke points here, Cubby. Going in with the in-between worlds. WE just want the fight. Big combos coming through, but Cube is able to stop a lot of the damage, parting them like the Red Sea, but XQW is finding purchase here, and the Yone is off to a 1-0-1 start, and the Dragon is LGD's.
Great opener for LGD, and gotta praise Sasi and his ability to get into this fight. That TP and his Equalizer was fantastic in setting things up. The follow-up from XQW was quite good, but he was really just there to stall time and use his health bar. Did get out in time. It was the Rumble that ended up driving this fight home. As you can see, this start to the fight, I don't love the Aurora ult. Like, Shaoye is never really going to be under threat.
Wow.
He gets a free exit, but this Rumble ult was melting everyone. XQW, his ability to get in and out was too good. And Rumble, so many cooldowns were burned early on in the fight. He just goes untouched, gets to dump all his damage onto multiple members of Team WE. And that was the big difference maker in the skirmish for me.
I just watched Tianzhen flash down the Equalizer. Oh, it's okay.
Well,
it's okay. It's fine. It was a really, really, really nice attempted rebuttal there by Cube. I actually think the entrance with the heroic entrance was really nice. But, dude, Sasi's Equalizer melted them. And the fact that we're getting this kind of coordination early on in this best of 5 means that LGD have learned a lot of the lessons that maybe was plaguing some of the earlier games in their last series. The early game up to like 15-20 minutes was always felt refreshing for LGD, but I need to see them kind of hold on to that.
Yeah, they're gonna have to hold on a little bit too. It's gonna be 4 grubs to 2. I think this is okay for LGD. Again, as this game goes on, I favor them in the side lanes. Yone should be able to win whatever side lane that he's in. And I like how they have him into Cube, who, of course, is going Magic Resist, rightfully so, as his lane matchup is Rumble. But you can see LGD trying to shift the Yone into the Galio. And, yeah, it's going to force a response from Team WE. As you can see, they're flipping their solo lanes to get better matchups for themselves. Like that game of cat and mouse that LGD is playing. I think it's really solid play with the Yone on his strengths weaknesses. Doesn't have the Bork yet, but once he's able to get that, we'll be much better at getting through the Galio.
I'm going to take a look back. I believe this is what happened
Are we going to flash?
The fight?
Oh, no! I knew something was up, Mazel.
I thought they were going to slow-mo it or something. I thought, you know, I would get the directed cam out here and watch him do it.
This is why we put Flash on D. He fat-fingered F and cleanses the lower cooldown.
I'm here with the Flash on D gang, by the way.
Wow, we're going to make a lot of people mad back home with both of us being on the Flash on D gang.
I'm just saying, get good. Like, there's obviously a user error if you have it on F. I don't know.
F for fat finger, and we fat-fingered the lower cooldown, you know? It's not
that feels a little bad, though, for Shaoye as maybe one of his only exit tools.
Yeah, it's fine. You know, I love
heavy comp.
I love when people are like, you know, we need more pro players to use their F keys. That's not the one we mean. That's the wrong one. Sorry, I had to fit that bad joke in.
Yeah, you had to get it in there. You just had to force it. Just stuff it in there.
Importantly, Bork completed for Yone. So
Heartsteel also completed, more importantly for Climber.
And I do like what LGD is doing. You can notice that they're being really disciplined in playing out 3 lanes, but the help for LGD is always on the side of the Yone, because this is the pick that you want to support. If you have Sejuani on that side of the map, really tough to win skirmishes against that 2v2, that 3v3. And it does enable Yone to actually push up and play with tempo. Rumble's fine catching, and if they really attack him, Equalizer can just be dropped on the wave and pretty much neutralize that timer for 1 wave. So again, I think the strat that LGD is playing, we see a lot of Rumble, Yone, Sejuani top sides, but do want to credit them for playing this one correctly.
I've actually been really impressed by some of the macro decisions by some of these teams, especially early on into the 2025 season. And honestly, that speaking of LGD a little bit more, that's what impressed me so much about those early games against AL, and being able to see just fluid movements around the map on those timers, especially with how many neutral objectives there are now. As you see, speaking of neutral objectives, Rose is starting to spawn. That means Atakan is lurking about and will be bot lane.
Yeah, and definitely going to be voracious, which is pretty much all we've seen in pro play. If you watch pro play, you probably think there's only one version of Otacon. It's pretty much always been the one.
It's gonna change. It's gonna change.
Yeah, it is. But at in the early season, it's always been the dopamine Otacon, which is you get the GAs and you get to go in, and your death doesn't really matter. You just respawn, only give over a cannon minion's worth of gold. So that's a climber. Art steal.
Oh goodness. Dopamine gamer.
That's a big chunk, actually.
It does a lot of damage. Like, it is no joke.
Yeah,
I do wonder, though. Okay, so we're getting set up around this dragon. Since it just spawned, be a second dragon. A little bit late on the timers for these. It was LGD that got it first and foremost. XQW is going to try to spot out some of the warding that WE has put around here.
Yeah, if you're WE, I think that you are down gold, but your comp for me, stronger now. It's fight, 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 whatever spawns. I also, yes, WE, like we've talked a lot about the side lanes, and we like what LGD is able to do with pressuring the Yone lane. It's tough for Team WE to win these sides, but it did have the grub advantage 4-2, and we really saw them do nothing with that. They're catching their lanes, and you're catching bot, and the Galio's pushing at top. That doesn't really give them anything on the map, so I don't like the lack of proactivity we've seen with TPs now being up. We do see Cube trying to make his way towards the bot side. Would love to see an overload onto this Rumble and maybe just try and get a turret down or something going, because Team WE, again, they have the comp that, for me, stronger early on. They lost the first fight. They've done really nothing proactive on the map, and for me, that's just kind of giving LGD their win cons. As you can see, this Yone continues to get items. Stridebreaker going to be second for him, and you're going to lack damage to really take him down early on, which is going to be just problems and more problems for Team WE. So I do not think they're in good shape in this game, and would love to see them do something proactive. But
the track I see for WE is that they do feel like, especially with the Aurora and the Corki, that they do have some scaling to combat some of that. But when XQW is jumping straight on you and using his combo, like you're just not even going to be able to do any damage. So we'll see if that actually plays out that way, as WE want to contest for this. We have double TPs coming in, triple TPs coming in. Vampire getting engaged on big equalizer. And Sasa has set up the red carpet for his team multiple times, but Karis trying to roll it back up and put it right back at him. LGD falling apart here. XQW resets to the other side of the fight. Tianzhen goes ahead and finishes off the Rift Herald. Sasa going to burn on Taeyoon. Gets him. He's cooking. Ooh. That's a double kill, looking for a triple, but now Shaoye is the one to pick up the slack. Another one falls, and it's Shaoye versus Karis now, as it's XQW has gone to the mid wave, and that is the slugfest we were waiting for.
The opening to that fight actually wasn't too bad for Team WE, but they still came out behind in the back half thanks to some great Rumble play from Shaoye, as he's been fantastic on this pick to open up this series, Mazel. Really good equalizer in the back fight, too. Love how he held his overheat until he could really use it at a good time. You want to look at the replay? The one thing I'm going to look at, Cube might have been able to pick one side of the fight here and go on to Climber, who did whiff his ult and was low. So it's a good grand entrance. I think here, I mean, you could pick the fight. Like, that zoning doesn't do too much. Rumble was overheated. He's not going to use any cooldowns. If he goes to the other side of the fight, maybe he gets on the Yone sooner.
He never went and picked it up, I just realized.
Yeah, we'll see. But, I mean, all eyes on South in the back half of this fight, taking the 1v4 and taking 2 down with him. Really, really well done by LGD. And, yeah, Rift Herald was secured by Team WE, but not in the inventories. No one got the eye. And LGD, I mean, again, they got more kills on their carries. This Rumble is ginormous now, working his way towards a Void Staff. Things not looking good for Team WE.
And everybody dropped a lot of questions. Speaking of, I'm dropping questions right now. Tianzhen caught out. That's the second troubling decision in quick succession that we've seen. And he'll go down to XQW.
Yeah, trying to get that kill over to Yone. Did have to burn the ult, as Sundered Sky used to get some health back to surprise XQW a bit. But still, Tianzhen really caught out there. A nice use of the Blast Plant to spot the Zen. And now with the numbers advantage bot side, LGD has been doing nothing but supporting Yone in the side lane. And now it's going to finally bear fruit in that bot outer turret. And they spent the entire game like just really hovering him, making sure he can always get his farm, get ahead. Which is, again, I think how you should like, that's the way you play this setup with Rumble Yone. and Sejuani just go support the Yone. So for me, LGD has done a really good job of playing some good fundamental League, which is a bit surprising from a team that we've pitched as young. Yes, they won LDL, but sometimes we see these younger teams get pushed in terms of macro, or like usually it's not as much hands, it's experience from what I've seen. But at the moment, it's been a really solid showing from LGD today.
Yeah, I think XUW deserves a ton of praise. I mean, he was one of my stars even in their loss against AL, but he is a guy who has been working through this LGD system. I mean, funnily enough, the first start he ever got in LDL was on WE Academy, which is hilarious. Yeah? All these years down the road since 2020, you know, see this guy go up against WE in the actual LPL. But, I mean, that's a small little point to the fact that this guy has been a part of this LGD system for a long while. And, you know, being rewarded for that championship in the LDL in summer, him and Climber being those two coming up through that system, it's been really refreshing to see a guy like this actually go toe-to-toe with some people in the LPL and have a strong start to his rookie season.
Yeah, I mean, it had a really respectable series again against Anyone's Legend for me, and nice game one here. Again, LGD, I think, playing well as a team. Dragon is up. We do have the Chem Soul. Soul point for LGD on the table, and that 2-item spike we thought WE was waiting for, well, they're late to the fight. They're late to those spikes. You can see Ezreal, one of the perks of this matchup against Corki, same build path.
Oh my god.
Oh boy.
He didn't even take any damage, Cubby. It's not even fair. Karis just lost his entire health bar.
I mean, again, great vision setup and good use of fog, and I love how LGD are playing slow. They had a ward that did just get snuffed out by a control ward, but they're going to see if Team WE makes any missteps because they still want to fight. They realize that their comp is stronger at the moment. Again, Ezreal and Corki, same build path. Ezreal has just straight up beat Corki to that 2-item spike. So LGD feeling really good right now, and maybe even going to consider an Otacon threat.
No matter how far ahead you are in the game, the fear that Otacon puts in our pro players is hilarious to me to watch, because they are so scared to start up this objective with how much damage it does and how quick a turnaround can completely flip the game. If you lose that objective, you give over those GAs, all of a sudden your gold swing looks wild.
Yeah, and I mean, at the moment, LGD don't really need to take too much risk. They're pretty happy playing out these 3 lanes. Especially, I mean, I think it's really telling that Cube is going for the Randu and Zoman next. Going up against Yone, who is the one person that can crit. And also being matched up against the Rumble. Now, he has been mostly spending his time against Yone because LGD's gotten that lane assignment right in the side lane. But not exactly what you want to be doing as the Galio. Usually it's Rickmaker next. Rel going to take some damage.
I mean, this is overzealous right now. They go ahead and pop that heroic entrance. They get the double CC chain. Tianzhen just going in, but look at that equalizer. It's cutting off the team. Ooh. It's choking them to death. It's Sasu. It's the one with the grip. Sasa is the one with the flame spitter as well to help back them off. That is the voracious Otacon burning down quickly, and WE have no hope in that fight.
Gotta say, LGD making a fan out of me with how young these players are. The LDL champions, they're just playing textbook League this game, man. It feels like Team WE just have absolutely nothing to throw at them in terms of throw them off their game. As, yeah, they get a pick, they find Rel, but with how tanky Rel is, YCX does his best to just stall this one out. LGD, they have all the prio in the lanes. Mid got the wave in. They're rotating over. They get people into the choke, and then just a beautiful equalizer being dropped from Shaoye, who's got to be the MVP this game from what we've seen so far. This Rumble, every fight has been fantastic from him. Has another beautiful red carpet drop to make sure that the rest of Team WE could not follow the few members down the red carpet. LGD get those picks, get the objective, and now get to play the rest of the map. Top outer turret being threatened by XQW, and you got to believe it's going to be given and should fall.
Sasa has not had a single bad equalizer, which is impressive to say because we've seen some of the best in the league mess that ability up consistently. I'm going to cast a curse the hell out of Sasa now as he's just by himself down here.
He's using the new buff.
Yeah, you know, that's what it is. He get a quick pack for 100 gold. Easy trade as they do
has
the
empowered
turret
TP,
on top side.
so I mean, you could TP top and make a tempo play here with both Xin and Galio being spotted. I like the base from Tianzhen to try and defend against that potential play. But LGD, they don't want to rush anything. Inners Not going to be threatened yet because now all the outers are
Oh,
taken.
no,
Now
Taeyoon.
Taeyoon. He's on his
poor
own.
structure. Also, Feats of Strength had been acquired by LGD.
Yeah.
If you don't know what Feats of Strength are, it is the new buff to be fighting for early and unlocks better boots for you. As XQW is being completely surrounded, but he has that GA, so he's just fighting for the Krug. Look how much money he's
Tianzhen?
grooving. As
Tianzhen didn't want to go in.
Back off? What? I guess
Yeah.
they didn't expect the rest of the team to be there.
Rel and Sejuani could have rotated to help out, but yeah, a bit surprised they didn't just take this and try and force anything. But that
Dude,
might be how
LGD
strong the
is
Yone
gonna
is.
go
Here we
in.
go.
Yeah, I mean, you have all the GAs available. Why not just push the limit, push the very nature of it, and let Atacaz spew forth here as they get all the ultis underneath them. And there's the quick resets out. A
Well,
little bit not worth, but you know.
that wasn't fantastic, but we used the buff. 400 gold connected for Team WE, yeah? Big time, huh?
There you go. That's what you know.
All right.
Sometimes when the coach just says make sure to use the buff, you're just like, hey, I did what he said. I did what he said. I went in and I fought. Speaking of going in and fighting, we got Dragon coming up in less than a minute as well. It is Soul on a Chemtech Soul for LGD. Does WE have a chance of fighting, and who does it come from, Cubby?
I'll check real quick. It's only Tianzhen and, of course, Corki with the Rockets. But LGD with Shaoye on this Ezreal. Mid-prio, very easy to secure. And, oh, they're looking to fight Vampire.
Okay, wow, Vampire just dying out as well. He's going to have to back off immediately, and that's a massive tool down with the Solar Flare gone. That's Dragon 4 free skis for LGD.
Really good Ezreal play coming out from Shaoye there, because I just love how he pushed off Leona. Obviously, Vampire way too far up there, but the back half of that play to chunk out Tianzhen and get the flash, really well done by Ezreal, just realizing, hey, we're up in the fight, can push forward, push people away from the objective, as it's an easy secure and an easy soul for LGD. Well, it's been an easy game for them overall.
So far, so good. About a 4,000 gold lead for them. All the objectives besides those grubs going over. And I guess the Rift Herald that didn't get dropped in the pocket of WE. But now it's reaching the point of their strength, right? We're almost on that 3-item spikes for XQW. We're almost on a 3-item spike for Shaoye. This is the prime time for this composition. And that proactivity, it's coming way too little too late from WE.
I mean, Team WE just did not do what they needed to do on this map. Like, I mean, I can't think of a single play that they took that, like, went their way or was good. I guess shout out to Karis, who's been decent this game, but still, like, the game plan for me, if I think about Team WE's comp, it's, hey, we got to play and try and get some bot prio, or, you know, we have targets that we can gank as Xin. Galio brings so much gank assist, and we only saw them take down the Rumble when he had Otacon and could instantly respawn, so it's kind of like, where were the plays? When first grub fight goes sideways and it just wasn't played well by WE, felt like they just had no other answer, no other tries, and let themselves get outscaled into a spot where this game just gets worse and worse, so not a very inspiring performance from Team WE in this one.
It's never something that you love to see, especially when things are already not looking too great, and especially when there's so much pressure on you. We've already mentioned a million times. We'll mention a million more that you have to win these best of 5 because you only have 3 total. I cannot believe that turret just survived on 34 health, by the way. You have to win these best of 5s to try to survive in your group because top 2 make it out, bottom 2 are done until spring. And both these teams already sitting at 0-1 with the other 2 respective titans of the group at 1-0. I mean, the back's against the wall here, so hoping to see W pull themselves out of it, but this one has been a little bit of a lame duck to start us off.
Well, not for LGD. It's just been Team WE.
Clinical.
We're kind of questioning where
do we get
Team
boots?
WE's at.
Do we get the boot upgrades? That's honestly when we get these games like this. I'm always like, that's my first thought. Is I go to the questioning who actually buys the tier 3 boots.
I think really valuable for Sejuani this game, that magic damage shield against 2.5 sources. Yona does.
I feel like Yone likes it. You know, the movement speed.
Yeah, not bad. I
Not too
think
shabby.
I don't think Rumble should get it. We just get more damage on Rumble, which I like. We have the Rift Maker completed, which is the standard build here when you're going up against the Galio. And when you're this far ahead, Rift Maker does feel really nice on Rumble. It's kind of feels like a win more item.
The fact that he's on 3 items before everybody else is just by far.
Well,
the most
also
hilarious
deserved because let's be real, Sasi's had a fantastic game.
Not a single bad equalizer.
Yeah,
like,
he's had a
Sasa
fantastic
has just been on
game.
point. Okay. Trying
And
to see what we get in the
the
bottom
uninspiring performance continues, Mazel.
Oh, they're just not okay. Well, we're just gonna get the Baron. He's getting the turret right now, by the way, underneath the ire of Cube. He actually got it. Baron goes down. He ain't need no Baron. He's a free independent Yone. Tianzhen just goes in by himself, questioning where he was and where he's been. And I can tell him that it's in the grave.
Yeah, easy flash engage there from YCX. Good tracking as Tianzhen doesn't yet have his flash available. From when Shaoye got it out of him. And, I mean, just the beatdown continues, man. I haven't seen a lot of LPL games that have been this one-sided or where we've just seen teams refuse to fight or refuse to, play their way back in. Again, this is Team WE. Like, look at their comp. This comp gets outscaled. If you look at Rumble, Yone, Ezreal, like, these are champs that are going to beat you later on in the game. You're on timers if you're going to play Corki, play Aurora, and play especially Xin Zhao, and to just not have the proactivity. And when you get behind, not really try anything else. Just kind of a bummer of a game one here from Team WE.
Just been a little bit of a disconnect in communication. What they want to do is I see multiple different members ping multiple different places and trying to figure out where to go. Don't know, obviously, if that's actually the case or how the communication is working out, but with the gameplay that we've seen, there's definitely something off a little bit in terms of when they want to decide to go. But now maybe trying to clean that up a little bit going forward in this best of 5. It is a best of 5, so we have a lot of room for wiggling, if you will. But there is a move from WE out to their blue side to try to get some and recoup some of this jungle from themselves. They got it. Let's go, Cubby. They did it. Blue buff for everybody.
If we're rooting for blue buffs at this point, it's tough. Do we root when do we root for LGD stealing the red buff now?
Yes.
That would be a nice yoink before Elder spawns. We do have Elder. New season, same Elder pretty much as it is the game-defining buff.
Wait.
All right.
XUW, I swear he must have just saved up a ton of money because he was literally on 2.5 items. I was talking about how he had how Sasa had 3 items over. He's literally on 4.5 items now. The man had like 5,000 gold in his inventory or what?
He was farming.
That's against the law, XQW. It's against the law. And so is WE existing in this game number 1, apparently, as LGD have summoned the coppers, and WE actually find a little bit of a pick on XQW, but they're losing their base.
Yeah, don't worry. It only took 3 ults to make sure that XQW fell. Will be a reset. Yone being off the board means that the push probably ends here. And I gotta say, I don't love that play from LGD because you do have Elder up, and there's no TP on XQW, so you actually have a timer here where WE might be able to look, might be able to get fancy. I do like how Genjen and Vampire were looking to see if LGD made any bad moves to try and pick him out. That's the right move, even if it doesn't lead to anything. But yeah, that did slow down the game a little for LGD with this Baron buff. So I don't love the 1-for-1 to trade out the 2 inhibitors, even if it is 2 inhibs, because Elder's the game-ending buff, and you're at least going to give WE the chance to hit it, which they're going to take.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
You got to hit it. I mean, we haven't tried anything this game. You might as well try to hit this first when you actually have an angle. Cube has TP. Oh,
they got
TP coming in.
That's going to be Cube joining. He's got the heroic entrance. Vampire getting about half health. Oh, God. Oh, God. I've seen this before. Things are going down. Hit the red button. Emergency. Emergency. Taeyoon is down. Man down. Dragon taken by Tianzhen. He gets the bounty. Is the Elder Dragon going to be enough? As you hear the silencing of the wings. WE. They're trying so damn hard. But it's not going to be enough. Even with the Elder Dragon, their sins are too great, and LGD will end game number 1.
The ults were a little bit desync there from LGD. That equalizer, it did get a kill on Corki, but that was the first one that didn't hit the entirety of Team WE. But this time, the team had Sasi's back, able to back up the Rumble, and XQW even getting involved with that Fate Seal to make sure the Fate is sealed for Team WE game 1 as LGD going to take a really clean map from them. Well played across the board. Got to give them some credit for that.
This is the continuation of cleanliness that I wanted to see in that AL series when we saw them actually have decent early games. First 15 minutes looking good, but faltering when it came to those big time decisions. Here, didn't have to make many of those big time decisions and just cleanly executed the map. They knew what their strategy was from the draft, and they executed it very well. I can really appreciate LGD's resolve, at least coming into this best of.
Yeah, shout out to Sasi, who easy MVP vote from me. I expect him to get that, but man, I gotta say,
you think Sasa gets it?
Sasi, yeah.
I think it's got to be XQW.
I know that he farmed up a lot in the back half, but the Rumble was too impactful in those early fights. I gotta give it over to him. So, but yeah, I mean, from the Team WE perspective, I mean, man, you either got to play scaling if you're gonna play like that, or really try to make plays early. I really do not like one of my cardinal sins for League. If we're gonna get outscaled in the game, like, why aren't we doing anything? And yes, it led to an Elder flip that wasn't the worst scenario because of a mistake that LGD made, but like, you're playing Xin, you're playing Leona, you got a Galio topside. I mean, where's the attempts to like make plays? And when things go wrong, where's the attempt to punish some of those flashes being down? Like, we didn't have a single moment in that game where it's like, hey, this guy's missing tools. We'll see if Team WE can punish. They were always on the back foot. I do want to give LGD credit for how they play the map and the side lanes. I think when you play Rumble Yone, that duo, it is really defined. Just, hey, go support the Yone. Rumble's on his own. It's okay. And we saw that with Sasi being on his own, he still had a massive impact in the fight. So LGD does deserve some credit for how they played out that draft, which I think they did well. But just no deterrence from Team WE, which was a real bummer. I mean, that was not a very inspiring game one from them.
Yeah, I hope we get a little bit of a turnaround. It is Fearless, so we'll see different picks, no doubt. I also got to give a little caveat. I feel like Tianzhen, he'll be the one that takes a lot of the blame for this series, but when you're the only person trying to be proactive, sometimes it can look really bad. And I think there had to have been some kind of miscommunications or how they wanted to play the game or whatnot. I really hope to see that cleaned up, but I think it was just a holistic breakdown for the entire team. So we'll see if they maybe get something a little bit more comfortable or confident for themselves to try to rebuff this LGD team who is looking to try to get that win and make sure that they keep themselves in the conversation.
I gotta say, like, I think we've seen some promising things from LGD early on in the season. I mean, they did not roll over and die.
Sasa gets 66%.
As he
so
should.
So far.
As he should. We do respect Sasi, but I gotta say, LGD, I mean, they didn't roll over and die against anyone's Legends. Like, they actually played some decent maps, and I think the sentiment around that was like, oh, you know, Tarzan had a bad series, which he did. It wasn't a great day for anyone's Legends, but I mean, if LGD is going to take care of business against teams like this, then maybe we have to put more respect on the LDL champions' names from last year, them coming up to LPL and actually putting up solid maps, not just like with hands, but just textbook League. I mean, that was promising from LGD. They really took care of business in a league that, for me, the stigma of LPL has always been that teams like to not take care of business and drop random maps. If we could have a young squad come up and really, you know, play well, play just textbook League against these teams they should be beating, then that's a good sign. And I just want to see more turns from WE. That was not a good map from them. Like, I can't highlight good things they did in that map. I really cannot. They were just always on the back foot.
And we have to talk about the kind of draft that we got, the first three at least for LGD. I mean, that is a powerful as heck draft. Not only are you getting Rumble, because we've seen Rumble pretty much completely banned in a lot of the series, but you're able to log down such a hefty trio of the Rumble, Sejuani, Yone, and realize that you have an absolute winning condition in XQW and playing towards that combination of XQW and Climber. I think it's just, they set out the path from them. Everybody could see where they were going and what they were doing, but nobody could stop them.
Yeah, I think the only adjustment, maybe a Silas instead of Aurora. Silas and Ione, not a bad matchup. You would have had a few good ults to grab that game. That's one thing I can think of in terms of the change. But yeah, I mean, you are giving away a really strong first three. Like, other things to play into it, I like the Akali ban that LGD did, so I feel like they took care of some homework there, because that's one of the picks that's better into Yone and that you can actually play. Like, Sejuani CC and Akali, it doesn't matter too much with the Shroud and the movement you get, but yeah, I mean, again, you are giving away something strong.
Equalizers.
I think for me, like, maybe not splitting up the Rumble Yone would have been the mistake, because a pick like Galio just gets nerfed a lot by something like Yone, and that is a matchup that I really do like into Rumble topside. Like, it's playable. You can win games. You have clear win cons. But again, they didn't really hit them. And I don't think that's as much on Cube as it was on the rest of WE. But just not an inspiring performance from WE. We're going to look for a lot more from them in the next map.
And just really good team fighting from LGD. Everybody showed up at the right time. And maybe not as dominant of a bot lane 2v2 as I was expecting coming into the series, but they still got to show their stuff, especially that early level 2 gain there. So I expect a lot of good things from LGD moving forward, and maybe a little bit more skeptical to Team WE. Maybe Rengar comes through. Maybe we do just get the full-fledged comfort coming out for them, but I think that could be an answer moving forward at least, and try to find something, because this is a tough situation. It's a team that not a lot of people believe in as well, and you've got to try to find something to hold on to in that regard.
I'd love to see some Climber Lee into the Rengar. That'd be a fun matchup that we might
that
get later on.
That would be a fun matchup.
Yeah.
Can we please get that? That'd be like a gift.
That would be a gift. So, I mean, that said, I want to make jokes about gifts and LGD getting that game won, but I think I'll hold back.
Don't do it.
Yeah,
They're already down, man. They're already down. They already lost. Come on. See who gets POG. It is going to be Sasi on the Rumble. He got so many votes, and honestly did so much work with those equalizers. At least the first 3 were game-deciding equalizers.
I do want to throw out, too, I mean, talked a lot about how you play out this draft and focus on the Yone if you're jungle support. It means you're playing away from Rumble. It never really felt like Sasi was on weak side because of how well he handled it. I mean, was really comfortable catching waves, pushing up the right waves, and the one time that he did go down, yeah, he had Otacon, so it's fine, right? He's just going to respawn and rejoin his team. And those equalizers were, I honestly, picture perfect. I think the ones that he dropped, especially that one by where Otacon spawned to split up the rest of Team WE, real highlight from me. So a great performance from Sasi, who put up a great map, and love to see the Rumble play coming out and be used that well. This fight especially, and just holding on to the overheat until this moment. Flashing and chasing it down. That is a good death. That was the only death we saw from him this game. So, yeah, well worth it.
I mean, you just see these equalizers. There's just not much that WE can do against them. Maybe giving them a little bit of flame to their namesake, at least in their red coloring. But what a way to go about it. And Sasi, I mean, we focus so much on Climber and XQW, but the fact that he's able to take that 5 out of 8 vote, actually, for the MVP is pretty huge. So glad to see him.
Climber? We're trolling if we're voting
it
Climber.
Been, yeah, true.
Is that a media Keck W vote with the mid jungle? Because that's a big thing on LCK. You know, we love the media Keck W votes. Yeah.
I am happy that they first picked the Rumble, and it actually does work, because you'd hate to see resources like that given and not really paid off in that regard. So really nice stuff from LGD. We can talk about them all day long, but honestly, we'll probably see more games of them, so maybe not. But that does mean we're getting to the point where we have to talk about our Kofi. It's the middle of the night, by the way. We're casting LPL from LA. Sometimes it's hard to have energy. It's hard to stay energetic for a broadcast. Luckily, thanks to the support of our coffee subscribers, fans have donated 69 coffees to us to keep us wired and ready. One of them is in his cup right now. The 68 other ones you can't see because I've strategically hidden them. Since this is a fan-run broadcast, though, we rely on subscribers from Coffee, from YouTube, from Twitch to support the stream. We all do this out of the love for the league and the want for our league to be covered in a traditional broadcast sense. If you subscribe, you can unlock perks like early access to content, access to exclusive channels on Discord, and also potentially give us some questions for those interviews that we'll have coming up. Please join now. Please support us. Everything that goes into this goes to the stream, goes to improving the daily experience of the stream. So thank you all so much for everybody that's tuned in.
Yeah, I do just want to add in, obviously, the early support's been fantastic, but we have content plans that's going to be exclusive to the Ko-Fi, and also our producer, Kelsey, did say that she's got 1.75 liters of coffee for this one, so might need some more coffees with the rest of us in the early morning.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Might need it. Well, everybody go get your coffees, go get ready, because we got more games to catch. After a short little break, we'll be back